Welcome to No Stages Podcast, episode 4. Rick Boethling and I are here with Christie Tracy. Too many accolades for my old brain to remember. And it's great to see you, Christie.
Good to see you too.
So you're really tuning up for Race Across the West by doing a lot of racing.
I am. Yes, I just finished Pacific Coast Bike Race, which was 800 miles from Sacramento to San Diego unsupported. And I finished that Wednesday at 5 a.m. and then found myself racing again on Sunday, 125 miles of gravel. So
And was that one out in Fruita?
yeah, it was in Fruita, Colorado. It was the course is called Cotuit, which is Colorado to Utah. It was put on by Desert Gravel, and it was a very mountain bikey course raced on a gravel bike. So my body's pretty beat up from it, but it was a lot of fun. It was really beautiful.
And how are you recovering now? I mean, you're driving a whole lot in between these. Where are you heading now?
Right now we're on our way to Hico, Texas for Gravel Locos. I help with the support of that event every year. So I'll be working registration, checking everybody in, and then also racing the 150 mile. And Jamie, we do support. So the van do it, we park out and we do neutral rider support, leading up to it, making sure everybody's got air in their tires and all that good stuff. And then medical support if needed, some too. So.
And then what are your races in between this one and RAAM?
Oh gosh. I would have to look at my calendar. I honestly am just kind of going one race at a time at this point because my brain can only hold on to so much. I don't think I have much between Gravel Locos and RAAM. We're going back to Texas for a couple weeks to kind of regroup, unpack the van because we've been on the road now for going on 2 months. We were in California. We did Redlands Classic, then Sea Otter Classic, and then Pacific Coast Bike Race. Then we went to Colorado for Desert Gravel, then Hico for Gravel Locos. So yeah, we're going back to kind of unload and clean out the van, get some good base miles in, and recover a little bit before RAAM.
You need those base.
And then we'll be heading out.
Yeah. You do, but I think you've got them. I don't think you ever stop. So you've actually talked at Texas Hell Week about burnout and recovery.
Yes.
So how are you going to? I mean, you've had a busy season already, and you're rolling into RAAM, which is going to be a long, hard race. And then, how are you going to prevent hitting the wall again?
Burnout. One of the biggest things that I've incorporated this year is that every race is not a race. For me, it's all about community, and I'm really big about supporting the community, being part of the community, and just enjoying the community. And so when we went to Desert Gravel, and it's the same thing for Hico, although I am, and I'm using finger quotes here, racing the races, I'm not really, I'm just riding them. A good example, so Desert Gravel, I started that race less than 4 days after finishing Pacific Coast Bike Race. I obviously didn't have any speed in my legs. So even if I had wanted to race it, I couldn't have. But I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to ride that course because it just looks so beautiful and to be part of the community. And so I think the winner's race times for Desert Gravel, I think, was somewhere around 7 hours and 10 minutes. My race time was like 10 hours. And the other thing is, for Desert Gravel, what happened with me is 20 miles in, I ran across a rider that was walking his bike, and I stopped, and he had broken his collarbone. He had hit her out wrong, and he was planning on walking his bike 5 miles to the nearest aid station. So I stopped and stayed with him for about an hour until help there, call, get on the way. And so that's the kind of thing. When you approach it mentally from I'm going to ride this and have fun and do what I can to support, and not, I'm going to just go, kick my own teeth in and race this as hard as I can. It really helps with the burnout aspect. It helps you stay in love with your bike. It helps you, ride with some of the riders that you might not otherwise have an opportunity to if you're really working on staying at the pointy end. I stopped and enjoyed every aid station. I sat at every aid station for 15 minutes chatting with the volunteers and getting to know a little bit about them. And that helps a lot with the burnout aspect. It's like you don't give up bikes entirely in between races, in between your A races. You just find a way to make it fun and take the mental stress out of it.
So what are your goals for Race Across the West?
So it's my very first race across the West. It's my longest race to date. So I'm sorry, I'm going to answer that in a moment. But what I've done is I started out with ultra racing. I started out with 6 hours, then I went to 12 hours, then I went to 24 hours, then I went to 508 or 500 with Race Across Oregon, then 508 with Silver State, then well, it was supposed to be 750 with Pacific Coast, but it ended up 800 because of detours. And then I think, what is Race Across the West, like 950 to 1,000, somewhere in there? I haven't even looked at the course yet.
925-ish, something like that.
Okay. So I'm just taking those baby steps. And so number one, I mean, of the competitor in me, I want to win. I of course I want to win, but I'm also trying to be realistic, and this is my very of this length. It's to be a learning experience as well. So we make all of the plans and contingency plans that we can be into it, but you know there's going to be hurdles that we weren't expecting that you just kind of have to learn from and do your best to navigate. So that's what we're going into this race. We've got a really solid plan. We've got a really solid crew lined up, racing for the win, but also if things go sideways, won't be disappointed if it just turns into a great learning experience. But so finishing number one and then number two, yeah, finish as high up as we can.
And who all's on your crew?
So I have the one and only extraordinaire Jamie Tracy, of course, husband, SAG support, and crew chief. We've got Matt Stevens. I don't know if you're familiar with Matt Stevens. He's Lauren Stevens' husband. They race professionally. So Lauren Stevens races for TIPCO, SVB, and Matt is her husband. He also, I used to race with him on Penaracer, the Penaracer Pro Gravel team. He's a bike mechanic, a bike fitter, and just stellar. So he's going to be coming out. And so Jamie, in the past, Jamie has been the only mechanic. So this way he'll have a little bit of relief with Matt on the team as well. Then we have, you guys know Paige Redman, I think. Paige Redman will be out there. So she's going to be on my crew. And she's a nurse, so she will provide that little aspect that we hopefully won't need, but we'll have it if we need. And then Maria Vasquez as well, which I know you guys know Maria very well. She was on my crew for the 508, and we're bringing her back for this one. So, and she's fantastic. She is always very high energy and the best cheerleader on the planet, and also really great at driving vehicles. So we have Jamie and Paige, Jamie and Maria and Matt all have experience driving larger vehicles, so they won't have a problem rotating with driving the van. And our plan is we're going to have, we're driving my car out from Texas when we come back out. So we'll have the car as a leapfrog vehicle and also the van. We'll have 3 crew members in the van and then 1 person kind of going ahead in the car to arrange lodging, get ice, that kind of thing. And yeah, Jamie's working on all of the logistics of it. So normally I'm a planner and I plan everything out, but I am so, like, my brain is just so fried from all the racing I've been doing. I've told him, I'm like, it's all on you this time, babe. So he's doing all of the planning and logistics, and I'm just going to do what he tells me to do.
Well, that's the way these longer ultra races are supposed to work. The rider should only worry about riding, and that's why you have all those tremendously talented people behind you.
Exactly. So really, really stoked. It is just solid. And we may have a 5th person joining us, or 2. Okay, Jamie just put that. He's in charge of the crew. So we've got feelers out to 2 more that we may bring on last minute. But we feel solid with the 4 that we have, but we may be adding 1 or 2 more, pending availability.
So Christie, I have to ask, I notice your sash of a seatbelt. Are you actually moving as we're talking?
Yes, we are always on the road. So we're driving right now from, we left Fruta yesterday. My days all run together too. We laid over in Trinidad, Colorado last night. So I got a nice recovery spin in. It was amazing. It's so beautiful. I got to ride through the Lake Trinidad State Park. And now we're driving the rest of the way from Trinidad to Heiko today. And then we'll be in Heiko for the week until the race, and then heading back to Austin. So Jamie is obviously driving.
And for those that don't know, well, there's Scooby too. Scooby is the co-pilot, and Jamie, your fantastic husband, lends so much time and energy to the sport, from the not riding end, but neutral support, just being an all-around good guy. And having your 2 personalities out there is stunning, and you get to see a lot of different aspects of cycling. How do you think they cross over with one another? I mean, you're going from gravel to, multiple gravel races to a pretty long road race.
It's interesting because the demographics are definitely very different. So to give the listeners a little background, I'm still racing UCI Road, which is pro road here in the US a little bit. I raced Redlands Classic. I'll be doing Tour de Gatineau up in Canada later this year with my team 3TQ+M. And then I also am very involved in the gravel community and race a lot of gravel. And then of course the ultra distance, and then of course the local Austin community as well when we're home, all the local road races. And it's really fun to see how the demographics overlap. The UCI group is very serious. They're all, professionals, and most of them half of my age. And so you line up at a UCI race and you get a bunch of poker faces. Everybody's mean mugging each other, and it's very serious. And you basically it's just a very different. It's fun, but it's a very different atmosphere. Gravel is different in that it's much more family type community. Up until the whistle blows, everybody is giving each other hugs and helping each other out. What should I run for tire pressure, or you got any sealant I can borrow, that kind of thing. And then the whistle blows, and then the pointy end is similar to UCI racing, where it's very much beat each other's brains in or rip each other's legs off. But then that might be the top 5% of the race, and the rest of the race is just a bunch of everyday normal cyclists that, like me, that are just enjoying riding. And so, towards the middle or the back, you have people just riding together and supporting each other and helping each other through it. Which is I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I love being at the pointy end, but I also like planning races where I'm not going to be at the pointy end, where I have no desire to be at the pointy end, like this one this past weekend. And then the long ultra distance, it's similar to the gravel community, where it's so supportive. Everybody is so supportive of each other. It's you put so much work and training into this, and everybody knows that every other competitor out there has put in the same amount of work and training, and how much of your life you sacrifice and commit to it. And when I say sacrifice, I mean that in a good way. It's a willing sacrifice, but you don't want to see anybody else fail. You want to see everybody succeed. And so I love the camaraderie at the start of an ultra race leading up to it. All of the different crews sharing tips with each other, all of the different racers, you always keep some cards behind the, hidden, but you share a certain amount. And then afterwards, just celebrating each other's successes is so incredible. And it doesn't matter where you finish. If you finish an ultra race, that's a win. All of that work that you put in and you successfully finish it, that's a win right there. And so celebrating that with your fellow competitors is a lot of fun. Did that answer the question?
Yes, it did.
Okay, good.
Pretty well.
Yeah, very, very, very well, in fact.
Well, Christie, as we wrap up, what are you most looking forward to the rest of this year?
Race Across the West is my big A race for the year. So I'm very much looking forward to this, just the experience. And honestly, having done, so Pacific Coast Bike Race was 100% unsupported. And that was my very first unsupported race of that length. And it's a completely different animal. Having done that and gotten through it, I'm looking forward to Race Across the West even more, because I feel like I'm going to be pampered. I'm going to have a van behind me giving me bottle hand-ups the whole time. I don't have to stop, and I don't have to carry 50 pounds of gear on my bike climbing these mountains. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into I loved the unsupported. It was so much fun, but I'm really looking forward to getting back into the supported, and seeing what I can do, seeing what I'm capable of. And then outside of that, I'm really looking forward to getting back with my 3TQ+M teammates at Tour de Gatineau up in Canada and doing another UCI race up there. Because this is probably the last year that I'll be racing at that elite level. Like I said, I'm 4 years old. I'm not getting any younger, and the competition most certainly is. And I love it. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that as well. What? Oh, long voyage. Gosh, see, this is where my brain is. I'm still missing a few brain cells from PCBR. So another little story is the long voyage is Gravel World's ultra distance gravel race. It's 350 plus miles. And 2 years ago, I DNF'd that race. And it was one of the hardest DNFs I've ever had, mentally and emotionally for me. I was very burnt out going into it. I wasn't as smart. I learned from my mistakes that year. I was racing going into it. Mentally, I just wasn't I had done Unbound XL earlier in the year, which is a 300-mile Unbound course, and it had broken me a little bit, and I hadn't really recovered from that. So going into the long voyage, I had made the lead group with the lead guys. I was the lead female, but I had a mechanical where I was carrying a lot of nutrition in my back, in the pack that runs off the back of your saddle, and I had packed it wrong, and so the heavy stuff was at the back, and it bent over and was rubbing on my tire. But I didn't want to stop to fix it because I had made the lead group, and you don't want to let that go. So very long story, very short. I ended up destroying my tire and stopping at a gas station and just not being able to continue. And it was a good thing mentally for me to not finish that race either, because I was a mess. So I'm really looking forward to going back this year with a much fresher mental outlook and completing that race and kind of getting my unfinished business completed with that. So yeah, that's another big one out there for me that I'm looking forward to.
Well, I think we're about done, but I would like to say before we depart, thank you to you and Jamie and Scooby for all the help you do at all these events, because we really, really need people like you out there being ambassadors and helping others get on their bikes and race, from the best racers in the world to people that just want to give it a shot. So thank you for being out there, and thank you for spending time with us today.
Of course. Can I add one more thing before we hang up?
You absolutely may.
That's just anybody that's listening that may be new to ultra racing. Look me up on Instagram. I'm Team Tracy ATX. That's TEAMTRACY ATX is in Austin, Texas. I am more than happy to give advice, answer questions. If you want to pick my brain about absolutely anything. I love that. That's part of what I love so much about this sport. So use me as a resource, look me up, send me a DM, and I'll get back to you as long as I'm not in the middle of a race.
Thank you, Christie.
Thanks, Christie.
Yep, of course. Thanks, guys. All right, bye.
Bye.